Welcome back to the channel. I'm Laura Collins, and if you're new here, this is where we break down the most jaw-dropping moments in modern warfare, technology, and strategy. Today's story is going to absolutely wreck your brain. We're talking about one of the most audacious military operations of the 21st century, a precision drone strike so perfectly engineered that it didn't just destroy a target, it dismantled a myth. A myth that the Kremlin spent decades and billions of dollars building. We're talking about Ukraine going after Russia's most prized, most feared, most symbolically loaded strategic bomber, the Tupolev Tu-160, codenamed the White Swan, a $250 million flying monument to Soviet-era dominance, a plane Russia literally flew to Venezuela just to make America nervous. And tonight, Ukraine is about to turn that symbol of untouchable power into a smoldering, expensive pile of scrap metal, using drones that cost less than the watches on Russian generals' wrists. Before we dive in, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment telling me, did you think Ukraine could actually pull something like this off? And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button right now, because trust me, you do not want to miss what comes next. This is the White Swan operation. Let's go. 2:17 a.m., Engels Air Base. Deep inside Russian territory, the air feels heavy, charged with the kind of silence that only exists before something catastrophic happens. And sitting exposed on the northern hard stand, completely out in the open, is Russia's crown jewel, a brand new Tu-160M strategic bomber. Call sign, White Swan. This wasn't supposed to happen. The White Swan was never meant to be left vulnerable like this. These aircraft are normally stored in specialized hardened hangars, wrapped in layers of air defense systems, surrounded by elite security details. But 48 hours earlier, a Ukrainian strike team had deliberately ambushed a Russian transport convoy moving this exact aircraft. The strike didn't destroy the bomber outright, but it clipped its wings just enough to force an emergency landing. And because Russia's logistics chain is in absolute chaos, a direct consequence of 2+ years of war and crippling Western sanctions, the specialized hangars simply weren't ready. So there it sits, a $270 million aircraft undergoing emergency repairs under the open sky, exposed to satellite surveillance, exposed to long-range drone routes, and completely unaware that right now, deep in Ukrainian mission control, a team of operators is staring at its exact GPS coordinates on a screen. The trap wasn't set by luck. It was engineered step by deliberate step by Kiev's intelligence apparatus, and the White Swan just flew right into it. 600 miles. In any conventional military context, that's an enormous, nearly impossible operational distance for a strike mission. But for 50 Ukrainian Beaver drones, cheap, composite-bodied, AI-guided, and fully expendable, it's a one-way trip with a very specific purpose. These machines are not flying, they are hunting. At 2:00 a.m., 6 reconnaissance mini quadcopters are already ghosting through a thick curtain of river fog above the Volga, scanning for the elegant and terrifying silhouette of the Tu-160M. Below them, the main swarm is screaming across the Russian heartland at a nerve-shredding 260 feet of altitude. This is what military tacticians call nap of the earth flight, threading through valleys, hugging riverbanks, hiding behind tree lines, and the natural curvature of the planet itself. To the powerful long-range S-400 search radars scanning from miles above, these drones are effectively invisible. But Ukraine isn't just relying on low altitude. They are running a masterclass in electronic deception. Without warning, 10 specialized decoy drones break formation and scream upward into a vertical climb, broadcasting radar signatures that look exactly like incoming Storm Shadow cruise missiles. Inside the S-400 command vehicle, every screen erupts in red. The commander, terrified of losing the White Swan, doesn't wait for confirmation. He fires. $8 million worth of Russian interceptor missiles scream into the stratosphere to obliterate $50,000 worth of Ukrainian decoy plastic. The real swarm? Still coming, still invisible, still 60 seconds from its target. Here is where this story gets almost too extraordinary to believe, because Ukraine didn't just plan to destroy the White Swan. They planned to steal it. Hidden in the long grass approximately 400 yards from the Tu-160's massive landing gear, four shadows hold perfectly still. This is an elite Ukrainian sabotage unit, and they are carrying something remarkable. Avionics bypass codes and a portable starter unit capable of waking up the bomber's NK-32 engines. For a few heart-stopping minutes, the most audacious heist in aviation history is genuinely, actually, on the table. The Pantsir short-range defense systems have their turrets swinging wildly toward the decoy signatures in the upper atmosphere. The ground security is mesmerized by the light show in the sky. The white Swan is momentarily, inexplicably abandoned. The lead operative moves toward the boarding ladder. Plan A, Grand Theft Bomber, is alive. Then it dies. A high-frequency perimeter alarm, entirely separate from the main air raid siren, detonates the silence. The base's internal security grid has triggered a quick reaction force. 3 Tiger armored vehicles are already accelerating toward the hard stand, headlights cutting through the fog. The window slams shut in under 3 seconds. The operatives vanish back into the Volga fog like they were never there. On a ruggedized tablet, the team lead swipes one final encrypted command. Plan B is now live, and the White Swan's fate is sealed. With Plan A dead and the sabotage team melting back into the darkness, the full weight of the operation now falls on 40 remaining Beaver drones holding a silent orbit over the Volga River, waiting for their kill code. The moment that encrypted command hits their onboard AI systems, they stop waiting. They become fully autonomous, guided by visual matching software that is already locked onto the infrared glow of the Tu-160M sitting on the tarmac like a neon sign in a pitch-black room. But between the drones and their target stands the Pantsir S-1, Russia's last line of close-in defense. On paper, the Pantsir is a swarm killer, capable of tracking 300 simultaneous targets, equipped with dual 30mm autocannons, capable of firing 5,000 rounds per minute. In theory, it should shred every single drone before they get within a quarter mile of the bomber. But theory and reality are two very different battlefields. The combination of the Volga's natural radar clutter, the electronic noise from the dying decoy drones, and the sheer simultaneous saturation of 40 inbound targets creates something that military analysts call a sensory kill box. For exactly 45 seconds, the Pantsir's fire control computer effectively seizes up. The operators are frantic, their turrets slewing wildly, unable to separate genuine threats from environmental static. And critically, they are pointing their guns at the sky, exactly where the decoys trained them to look. The low-altitude corridors are wide open. The Beavers are coming in underneath the radar, below the guns, and the Pantsir crews won't realize their mistake until it is far, far too late. Here is the moment where Ukraine's strategic genius moves from impressive to absolutely devastating, because the White Swan, as iconic and expensive as it is, was never actually the primary target. It was the distraction. The real objective sits 1,300 feet to the east, a hardened storage bunker containing 60 Kh-101 cruise missiles, fully fueled and ready for deployment. These aren't just weapons. Each one of those missiles represents a cold night for a Ukrainian family, a destroyed power grid, a hospital running on emergency generators. Together, they represent Russia's entire winter terror campaign budget for the month. As the Russian crews scramble to protect the bomber, 40 Beaver drones execute a synchronized banking maneuver and redirect. They hug the tarmac so low they are practically scraping the runway paint. 18 of them are swatted out of the sky in spectacular orange fireballs as the panicked Pantsir crews finally realize what's happening and open fire in a blind, desperate, full cyclic burst. One drone gets clipped and skids 300 yards across the tarmac in a shower of sparks and burning composite material. But the remaining drones are learning in real time. Every destroyed Beaver transmits its final microsecond of data, the trajectory of the tracer that hit it, the wind shift, the reload cycle of the Pantsir, instantly shared across the surviving swarm. The AI adjusts flight paths, micro-jinks, altitude shifts. It's swarm logic at its most brutal and brilliant. 22 drones impact the reinforced stockpile doors almost simultaneously. Inside, thousands of gallons of JP-10 jet fuel ignite in a thermal event peaking at 5,200 degrees Fahrenheit. 60 cruise missiles, Russia's winter strike backbone, begin a catastrophic chain of cook-offs, their guidance systems melting into expensive puddles of slag. The winter offensive just lost its front teeth. With the missile stockpile consumed in a roaring inferno to the east, 10 Beaver drones remain. Their AI systems are no longer interested in the burning stockpile. They have identified a new priority: 4 NK-3202 engines mounted to the world's most powerful strategic bomber. To the Ukrainian targeting software, those massive air intakes aren't just mechanical components. They are $10 million invitations to a funeral. The Russian ground security finally realizes what's coming. A lone guard atop a nearby fuel truck opens up with a PKM machine gun, spraying tracer fire wildly into the darkness. It's a brave and completely futile gesture, like trying to stop a swarm of hornets with a garden hose. One drone gets clipped, its fuel tank ignites, and it tumbles into the concrete just inches from the Tu-160's landing gear. The guard cheers for approximately half a second. The remaining 9 drones execute their final precision attack profile. The lead drone hits engine number 3. The shaped charge warhead triggers the Monroe effect, focusing the entire explosive force into a needle-thin jet of molten copper traveling at 7,000 meters per second. Imagine a power washer filled with liquid lava directed at the heart of a Rolex. The jet screams through spinning titanium compressor blades, triggering a catastrophic blade-out event. Precision machined components turn to shredder, then the second hit, then the third. The White Swan doesn't explode in a Hollywood fireball. It undergoes something far more final, a catastrophic structural collapse. The engine pods are reduced to smoldering scrap. Hydraulic lines are severed, bleeding red fluid across white-painted wings. By the time the last Panzer locks on and kills the final drone, the damage is absolute and irreversible. Let's talk about the real math here, because the numbers are genuinely staggering. Ukraine spent the equivalent of a few dozen high-tech composite drones, machines that cost somewhere in the range of tens of thousands of dollars each, to inflict a bill that would make a Fortune 500 CFO physically ill. The Tu-160M is not just damaged. It is, in every practical sense, decapitated. Replacing those NK-3202 engines isn't a repair job. It's a resurrection project. These are hand-built masterpieces from a factory already strangled by Western sanctions. We're talking about a $150 million restoration effort that will take a minimum of 8 months. For the rest of this winter, that $250 million bomber is the world's most expensive, most immobile paperweight. But the strategic consequences extend far beyond one aircraft. By neutralizing 60 Kh-101 missiles in a single 60-second window, Ukraine deleted approximately 150 planned Russian sorties. That's hundreds of Ukrainian homes that don't get hit, dozens of power grids that stay online, entire cities that keep their heat through the winter. And then came the Kremlin's panic response, the domino that reveals just how deeply this operation rattled Moscow. Within 24 hours, satellite imagery confirmed that the remaining Tu-160s and Tu-95s at Engels 2 were being scrambled and dispersed north to Engels Air Base, inside the Arctic Circle. Think about what that means operationally, moving your entire strategic bomber fleet 2,000 miles further from the front line. More flight hours, more fuel, more wear on aging airframes, significantly less time on station over targets. Ukraine didn't need to steal the White Swan to win this round. They just proved that in the 21st century, a Swan is just a very large, very slow target for a beaver with a grudge. And that, right there, is how a country fighting for its survival rewrites the rule book of modern warfare. No stealth fighter jets, no billion-dollar carrier groups, just precise intelligence, creative engineering, and the kind of strategic audacity that military academies are going to be studying for the next 50 years. The White Swan didn't fall because Ukraine got lucky. It fell because someone sat down and outthought the most expensive air defense system on the planet. So now I want to turn it over to you. because this community always brings incredible insight. Was this the smartest tactical pivot of the entire war? Or did Russia just have the world's most expensive bad day? And here's the real question I want you to think about. If you were the Russian commander right now, do you pull your best defenses off the front line to protect your remaining bombers, or do you let the Swans take the heat? There is no right answer. And I genuinely want to read what you think, so drop it in the comments below. I read every single one. If this video got your brain firing, hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who love digging into stories like this. And subscribe if you want to be here for the next deep dive, because we are just getting started on the engineering of the invisible war. I'm Laura Collins. Stay sharp, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one.